Any message for the victims?
Well, I'm always very, very, very sorry.
Peter Ball, former Bishop of Lewes, arriving at court in 2015 to be sentenced for historic sexual abuse. He was the most senior Anglican clergyman to be convicted of abuse, but he wasn't the only one. Now the Church of England is carrying out a past cases review. It will address concerns over the conduct of clergy and church officers towards children and vulnerable adults. In the Rochester diocese, that's the job of Archdeacon Julie Connelty.
We're looking to see if we have passed on information to the statutory authorities that we should have passed on, and if we've liaised with the appropriate agencies, if we've offered the right level of support to survivors and victims. We're looking to see if we've overlooked anything, and we're also asking people to come forward and tell us about things that perhaps we've never heard of before, or perhaps where they feel we haven't dealt with things properly.
This is about abuse.
Yep.
How would you characterise how the Church of England has dealt with those cases in the past?
Some of them, lamentably, there is no doubt, if you listen to survivors of church context abuse, that many of them are angry and distressed and often feel re-abused because they don't feel they've been listened to or heard, or they don't feel that the response has been appropriate.
As a child, Phil Johnson was abused by clergy for 10 years. Now he supports other survivors and victims.
The impact of abuse can be devastating, and what you're doing is you're undermining someone's whole belief system, not only in that community but in their wider faith. The average time it takes for people to disclose their childhood sexual abuse is around 23 years. It's only then, when they disclose, that they start to actually seek help and support to deal with these things. So it's really something that never goes away. Most survivors believe that concerns or knowledge of abuse needs to be reported to the statutory authorities, so that gets rid of that inclination to protect the institution and its reputation rather than to support the victims and deal with the perpetrators.
In Rochester, John Cameron, former head of helplines at the NSPCC, will provide independent scrutiny.
There's a whole cultural sea change that's occurring locally here and across the rest of, I believe, the Church of England, where they're being able to respond to children and adults who might be at risk of abuse and harm. So I think there's a journey that the Church of England are on that will make people far safer in the future.
The final report is due later this year. Its findings will be vital to restore faith in the Church. Tony Green, ITV News, Rochester.